Hi students, good morning. Welcome to this video session. My name is Samuel Dominic Chukwu Emeka, aka Sam Dom for Peace. In this video session, we shall continue our study on relations. Here we shall talk about symmetry, okay, properties of relation, and we are looking at the symmetric properties of relations. Please, before you continue with this video, it is highly recommended that you view the videos on the video playlist. There is a video playlist on relations. It is highly recommended that you view the videos in that playlist in order. Highly recommended, because some of the terms we shall talk about here, we have already discussed those terms in the previous videos. So when we talk of symmetry, let's start with biology. Let's bring it to biology. We talk about symmetry. Let's say we say the human being is bilaterally symmetrical. Okay. When you talk of symmetry, you're talking of identical halves. Okay. When you have that line of symmetry, when you have a line of symmetry, okay, the two halves are identical. Let's say for a human being, for instance, if you cut a human being, did I say cut? Okay. I don't mean you should cut a human being, no. You know, that's terrorism. You shouldn't do that at all. So let's say you look at a human being, okay, and there's a line of symmetry right here. Human being. So you see that with biology, you know, when you talk of symmetrical, the two halves are identical, right? Bring it to algebra. Algebra, when you did parabola, for instance. Okay, when you talk about parabola in algebra, you say the line of symmetry is actually through the vertex of the parabola. And the vertex of the parabola could be the minimum point on the parabola or the maximum point. And then when you draw the line of symmetry through that vertex, the two halves are identical, right? Okay, bring it to discrete mathematics. Kind of have slightly different meaning here, okay? But when we talk of symmetry in discrete math, so we are looking at, let's say, a set with elements, okay? You know, when we talked about relation, it could be relation between a set of ordered pairs. It could be ordered pairs of two elements of a set, or two elements of different sets, of two different sets. So two elements of a set or two elements of two different sets. But it's ordered pair whenever we talk of relation, a set of ordered pairs. So bring it to a set, okay? If we say that a relation is symmetric on a set, if, okay, you have two elements of that set, if two elements of that set, say A relation B is the same as B relation A, and they all are elements of that relation, then we say that the relation is symmetric on that set. See what I'm talking about? We say that a relation say R, a relation say R is symmetric on a set say A. Okay, a relation say R is symmetric on a set say A if for all AB is an element of set A, okay? If for all you have two elements of that set A, then if then conditional statement, then AB is an element of R implies, okay, that BA is an element of R. So this is this definition of symmetry. Okay, symmetry, symmetric. Symmetric property of relation on a set. Okay, so if we shall do examples, so it will make more meaning to you. If we write this in predicate logic, let's say we write it in predicate logic. So we say that relation R is symmetric on set A, okay, for all A, for all B, okay, for all A, for all B, we have that AB is an element of the relation, implies is a conditional statement. If then, if AB is an element of the relation, then BA is also an element of the relation. So this is if we write this in predicate logic, this is what it means. Okay, so whenever we have AB, we should have BA. And it kind of tells you maybe identical halves, if you want to call it that way. Okay, whenever you have this, if you have one eye on the right, you should have another eye on the left. Kind of like that way, if you want to look at it that way, you know. If you have this point, and if you bring it to algebra, if you have this point on this side of the parabola, you should also have this point on the other side of the parabola. Kind of that way, if you want to look at it that way. Okay, so if you have AB element of the relation, you should also have BA to be element of the relation. That means it is symmetric. If you have 1, 2, you should have 2, 1. If you have 1, 3, you should have 3, 1. If you have 2, 5, you should have 5, 2. Okay, if you have this other pair, 2, 5, you should have other pair, 5, 2. That means it's symmetric. It's symmetric. The relation is symmetric. Alright, now let's look at this. Okay. When we still have what we call antisymmetric and then asymmetric. And then we're gonna do this, we'll do it step by step. I'm gonna explain what they mean. Then we will now look at some examples. By the time we solve several examples, it should make meaning to you. We say, when we talk about antisymmetric, okay, it means the only time we would have this would be when A is equal to B. Okay? The only time, when we talk about antisymmetric, it means that if we have AB and then BA, it should only happen if A is equal to B. Now, if it does not happen, no problem. But if it actually happens, then it should be that A would be equal to B. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? So let's say we say that a relation say R is antisymmetric. On a set, say A, if for all AB element of the set A, then AB is an element of R and BA is an element of R will only occur if A is equal to B. Okay, implies that A is equal to B. Then AB is an element of R and BA is an element of R implies A equal to B. If A is not equal to B, then no way. Okay? Yeah, if this can only occur when A is equal to B. If A is equal, if it happens when A is not equal to B, you know, with relation, if we can observe that the property does not hold for one case, we say that property does not hold. Okay? If anytime we see that, hey, A relation B is the same as B relation A, okay, then that this property will not hold. Okay, this will only hold when A is equal to B. So if we put it in a predicate logic, we could say that for all A, for all B, okay, we have that AB is an element of R and BA is an element of the relation R, okay, implies A is equal to B. Implies A equal to B. So this is in predicate logic. Now, another way you can put this, you know, another way we could say symmetric. You could say, you know, A relation B implies B relation A. You could have it that way. Okay, you could say A relation B implies B relation A. You could have it that way. You could write it this way. And here, you could say that A relation B and B relation A implies that A is equal to B. Okay? You could say A relation B and B relation A implies A equal to B. Yeah, but this is another way you could put it. For predicate logic, this is what you have to use here for predicate logic. For all, you know, you use quantifiers if you deal with predicate logic, quantifiers. But another way you could define this, you could define it like this, what I just wrote now. That is when we say antisymmetric. Now, with antisymmetric also, you could look at the contrapositive statement. If you look at the contrapositive statement of this, it could also apply with antisymmetric. Contrapositive statement would be if A is not equal to B, okay, then AB is an element of the relation, or BA is an element of the relation. AB is not an element of the relation, or BA is not an element of the relation. You could look at it that way, like the contrapositive. Okay, contrapositive definition. You could say if A is not equal to B, then A, B is not an element of the relation, or BA is not an element of the relation. Or you could say A not relation B, or B not relation A. Contrapositive definition. Okay, when we do examples, you will kind of see what we mean. So that is symmetric. This is antisymmetric. Now, what is asymmetric? Asymmetric. Alright, with asymmetric, it goes like this. Whenever we have A relation B, but we don't have B relation A, period. Okay? We have A, B is an element of R, but BA is not an element of R. It's not. Okay, so with asymmetric relation, you could have A relation B. Whenever you have A relation B, you do not have B relation A. That is asymmetric relation. So you could have it this way. You could have it this way. Okay. And with this here, if we write the contrapositive, let's write the contrapositive of this. Contrapositive of this, which still works. You could say A not equal to B implies A not relation B or B not relation A. You know, like when you say if Montgomery, if John lives in Montgomery, then John lives in Alabama. Okay, the contrapositive would be if John does not live in Alabama, then John does not live in Montgomery. See that? Okay. If John lives in Montgomery, then John lives in Alabama. Contrapositive would be if John does not live in Alabama, then John does not live in Montgomery. Right? So that is the contrapositive of this. And if you bring it to this, you could have it like this. Okay? You could have it this way. This implies this. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is, let me make sure these parentheses are right. Okay. Have this. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about, folks, would be, we could actually put this in parentheses like this. Put this like this, and then we can put parentheses here to close it. Okay? You can put the parentheses there to close it. To just close it. I just want to make sure the parentheses are okay. There you go. Alright? This. Making sure the parentheses are closed properly. So this here and this here, I'll close this right here. Then this will be equal to this, and I can close this like this. Okay? There you go. Alright, so this could work either way. This could work either way. The contrapositive and the conditional is the same thing. Now, let's get to asymmetric. With asymmetric, whenever we have A relation B, we don't have B relation A. Okay? So A relation B implies not B relation A. Okay, so whenever you have A relation B, you do not have B relation A. That is with asymmetric. So we say a relation R is asymmetric on a set A if for all for all AB is an element of the set A, is an element of the set A, then AB is an element of R does not imply BA is an element of R. It does not imply that. Okay? That is asymmetric. Whenever you have 1, 2, you don't have 2, 1. You have 2, 3, you don't have 3, 2. You don't even have 1, 1. You don't even have 2, 2. That is asymmetric. Asymmetric means you have 1, 2, you don't have 2, 1. So you have A relation B, but you don't have A relation B does not imply B relation A. Okay? A relation B does not imply B relation A. You could write it this way. Okay? Now, let us gradually solve several examples. We are going to look at sets, then we'll look at the matrices form, and we'll look at the digraphs. So that way it will kind of make more sense to you. But this is basically the idea of symmetric, antisymmetric, and asymmetric. So let's look at some examples, and it will make more sense to you as we solve some examples. Okay, example 1. Let's say we have set A to be 3, 4. Well, let's say we have set A to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have the relation to be 3, 4. Okay, look at this for a moment here. A by A. Okay, we have the relation to be 3, 4. So look at this here. Okay? Here, the relation is a set of ordered pairs. Okay? So we have it like this. 3, 4. Only. The set of ordered pairs. 3, 4. Has to be as an ordered pair, because relation is a set of ordered pairs. So if we look at this for a moment, folks. Okay? Here, we have 3, 4, but we don't have 4, 3. With symmetric, anytime you have 3, 4, you've got to have 4, 3. Other half, identical half. Excuse me. But here you have 3, 4. You don't have 4, 3. So here we say that R, the relation, is not symmetric. It is not symmetric because 4, 3 is not an element. 4, 3 is not an element of the relation. You have 3, 4, but you don't have 4, 3. R is not symmetric. Antisymmetric. We only have 3, 4 in that relation. We don't, like, with antisymmetric, remember, we have to have at least 2, okay? If AB and BA, if AB, that's AB is an element of arrow and BA is an element of arrow, implies that A is equal to B. But here we have only one ordered pair. We don't even have the other ordered pair. Now, if we had 4 and 3, then it is not antisymmetric. But here we have only one ordered pair, only one ordered pair. And this one ordered pair doesn't really give us enough information about whether, like it doesn't really give us, the 3 and 4 doesn't give us enough information of, okay, whether it's going to be anti-symmetric or not. It does not give us sufficient information. Whenever you see that you have a relation and it doesn't give you sufficient information of a property, just assume that it has that property. Okay, so we say that R is antisymmetric. It's antisymmetric because okay, the 4 3, because if we had 4 3, then it will not be antisymmetric. Okay, if we had 4 3, if we had 4, 3 in that relation, then it will not be antisymmetric. It will just be only symmetric. But then we don't have that, and we have only one other pair. Okay, we have only one other pair, so it really doesn't give us sufficient information. You know, it lacks sufficient information about it. It lacks sufficient information. So we just say it is antisymmetric. Okay? The same thing goes with asymmetric. Asymmetric, remember with asymmetric, if we have 3 4, then we should not have 4 3. We should not have 4 3. That is with asymmetric. So here we have only 3 4. Only. We don't know whether we don't have 4 3. We have only 3 4, but we don't have 4 3. So because of that, it is asymmetric. So R is asymmetric because it has only 3 4, but not 4 3. Remember, with asymmetric, if you have 3 4, then you should not. It has only 3 4 and not 4 3. Okay, it has only 3 4 and no 4 3 and no 4 3. So it's like a one-way street in the digraph. Okay, with asymmetric, if it has only one and there's no two-way street, only one-way street in the edges. Okay, the edges are one-way streets in the digraph, then it is asymmetric. Let's look at another example. We shall do several ones so that it will make sense to you. Number 2, what if we have A to be 1, we have A to be a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have the relation to be a set of 3, 4, and then 4, 3. 4, 3. Okay? Here, R is symmetric. Symmetric. Okay, it's symmetric because there is 4 3 4, because if you remember 3 4 is an element of R, implies that okay there is 4 3 element of R, 4 3 4 element of R. If you have 3 4, you should have 4 3. Or you can say 3 4 element of R implies also 4 3 to be element of the relation. So the relation is symmetric. Okay? Now, you have 3 4, you have 3 4, you have 4 3. but 3 is not equal to 4. Therefore, arrow is antisymmetric. Arrow is not antisymmetric. Arrow is not antisymmetric because 3, 4 is an element of arrow and 4, 3 is an element of the relation, but 3 is not equal to 4. Okay, remember, this and this will imply that 3 is equal to 4, but 3 is not equal to 4. If it was equal to 4, then it is antisymmetric. But 3 is not equal to 4, therefore it is not antisymmetric. Not antisymmetric. Now, arrow is also not asymmetric. It is not asymmetric because you have 3, 4, you should not have 4, 3. No, you should not have 4, 3. With asymmetric, if you have 3, 4, it should be one way, no 4, 3. No. Okay, so arrow is not asymmetric because 3, 4 is element of arrow and 4, 3 is also an element of arrow. Therefore, it is not asymmetric. Does that make sense? Therefore, it's not asymmetric. Okay? Let's do another one. By the time we do several, then it will make sense to you. We'll do a lot so that it will make sense to you. Now, what if we have number 3? Let's say we have set A to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have the relation to be, we have a 2, 2, 3, 3. We have 2, 2. We have 3, 3. Okay. We have 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4. Here. Okay. With symmetric, if you have 3, 4, you have to have 4, 3. With symmetric. With symmetric, if you have 3, 4, you have to have 4, 3. You must. Okay? If you don't have 3, 4, then you don't have to have 4, 3. That is with symmetric. But because you have 3, 4, you have 3, 4, and you don't have 4, 3. Therefore, because of that, it is not symmetric. Okay, so we say that arrow is not symmetric. Okay, why? 3, 4 is an element of the relation, but 4, 3 is not an element of the relation. So it is not symmetric. Okay? Now, antisymmetric. Antisymmetric, remember, with antisymmetric, you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3. You have 3, 4, but you don't have 4, 3. Now, if you had 4, 3, remember, antisymmetric is when you have both of them, okay, when you have both of them, that means they are equal. With antisymmetric, it will only work for, basically 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. When you have those, then you could now say yes, that this is antisymmetric. Now, if you had 3, 4, and you had 4, 3, then that's a problem. Then it will not be anti-symmetric. Because if you have AB and BA, it must be that they are equal. It must be that they must be equal. Okay? But you have 3, 4, and here you don't have 4, 3. If you don't have it, no problem if you don't have it. But if you have it, they must be equal. If you have it, they must be equal, like 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay? If you have it, they must be equal. But if you don't have it, no problem. Okay? So this is arrow is antisymmetric. Antisymmetric. Why? Why is it antisymmetric? Because 2, 2 is element of arrow. Okay? 3, 3 is an element of arrow. That's why it's antisymmetric. Now, we will do another example, okay, whereby we have 4, 3, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, here, is it asymmetric? It is not asymmetric. You know why? Because with asymmetric, if you have, you can't, with asymmetric, you cannot have 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. No way, you cannot. You can't have that. Because with asymmetric, if you have 2 relation 2, you should not have 2 relation 2. And that is like contradiction. That is like contradiction. With asymmetric, if you have 2, you can't have 2, 2. Because if you have 2, 2, then you should not have 2, 2 again. And that will be contradiction. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Now, if you had only 3, 4 only, like what we did here, then yes. But then you don't have only 3, 4. You have 2, 2, you have 3, 3. Therefore, arrow is not asymmetric. Arrow is not asymmetric. Because why? 2, 2 is an element of arrow, 3, 3 is an element of arrow. So it's not asymmetric because of this reason. Another example, example 4. By the time we do a lot of examples, it will sink in, trust me. Now let's look at if we have A to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have the relation to be 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, and then 4, 3. If we have it like this. Okay? If we have it like this. So, symmetric. When you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3, great. Okay, with symmetric, A relation B is the same as B relation A. No problem. You have 2, 2, no problem. You have 3, 3, no problem at all. You have 3, 4, and you have 4, 3. Great. You know, with symmetric, whenever you have 3, 4, you must have 4, 3. If you have 2, 2, no problem. The loop. If you have 3, 3, no problem. Okay. If you have 1, 2, you must have 2, 1. If you have 2, 3, you must have 3, 2. Now, but if you have 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, no problem at all. It's still symmetric. It's still symmetric because 2, 2 is still 2, 2. 3, 3 is still 3, 3. Okay? So arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. Why? Because, okay, principally, you know, you have 2, 2 is an element of arrow. 3, 3 is an element of arrow. Okay, but specifically 3, 4 is element of arrow, okay, and 4, 3 is element of arrow. Arrow is symmetric. So if you have 3, 4, yeah. When you have the loop 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, that's fine. If you have only that, that's fine. It's still symmetric. Okay? We still consider it symmetric. If you have only that, we still consider it symmetric. We shall do that case in the next example. Yeah, but the main thing here, you have 3, 4, therefore you have 4, 3. That's fine. Therefore it's symmetric. Is it antisymmetric? No, it's not. Okay? Now you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3. Great. But then you have 3, 4, and you have 4, 3, and 3 is not equal to 4. So with antisymmetric, whenever you have 3, 4, and you have 4, 3, then 3 must be equal to 4. Must. That is the only way antisymmetric works. If you have 3, 4, and 4, 3, and 3 is not equal to 4, it is not antisymmetric. So we say that arrow is not antisymmetric. Antisymmetric. Why? Because 3, 4 is the element of arrow, and 4, 3 is the element of arrow, but 3 is not equal to 4. Therefore, it is not antisymmetric. Okay? Now, is it asymmetric? It is not asymmetric because you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3, you have 3, 4, and then 4, 3. It is not asymmetric. Okay? So let's write it here. Arrow is not asymmetric. Why? Because 2, 2 is element of arrow, 3, 3 is an element of arrow, 3, 4 is element of arrow, and then 4, 3 again is an element of arrow. So it is not asymmetric. Okay? It is not asymmetric. Another example. By the time we do a lot of examples, it should sink in. Example 5. Let's say we have A to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have R to be 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay? We have R to be 2, 2, 3, 3. Fine. Fine. Arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. Because you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3. Okay? You have 2, 2, you have 3, 3. So arrow is symmetric. Because you have 2, 2 element of arrow, and then you have 3, 3 element of arrow. AB is element of arrow, and BA is element of arrow. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. So it's symmetric. Now, is it antisymmetric? It is antisymmetric. Because in this case, 2 is equal to 2, 3 is equal to 3. Okay? In this case, did I write it here? Antisymmetric. In the antisymmetric here, 2 is an element, write 2 is equal to 2, okay? And then write 3 is equal to 3. Remember, with antisymmetric, you could have, if AB element of arrow and BA element of arrow means that A is equal to B. That means it's antisymmetric. Okay? So, arrow is antisymmetric. Okay? Because Because 2, 2, element of R, okay, where 2 is equal to 2, 3, 3 is element of R, where 3 is equal to 3. So therefore it is antisymmetric. R is not asymmetric. R is not asymmetric. It is not asymmetric. Okay, why? Why? Because 2, 2 is an element of R, 3, 3 is an element of R. So it is not asymmetric. Asymmetric means it should not, you can't have, it's contradiction. Okay? Another example, example 6. Like I said, let's do a lot of examples and it will kind of make sense to you. Example 6. If we have A to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have R to be 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, other pairs. So we have 1, 2, we don't have 2, 1. We have 2, 3, we don't have 3, 2. We have 3, 4, we don't have 4, 3. So arrow is not symmetric. Arrow is not symmetric. Because, why? Why? Because 1, 2 is an element of arrow, but 2, 1 is not an element of arrow. 2, 3 is an element of arrow, but 3, 2 is not an element of arrow. 3, 4 is an element of arrow, but 4, 3 is not an element of arrow. So that case, no. Arrow is not symmetric. Is it anti-symmetric? No, it is not anti-symmetric. Well, sorry, I take it back. Is it anti-symmetric? It is anti-symmetric. You know why it's anti-symmetric? Anti-symmetric means if you have 1, 2, then you should have 2, 1 if 1 is equal to 2. So AB is an element of arrow and BA is an element of arrow, implies that A is equal to B. Okay, we have 1, 2, we don't have 2, 1. We have 2, 3, we don't have 3, 2. So with anti-symmetric, you could say here that it lacks sufficient, it is anti-symmetric because it lacks sufficient information. Like, okay, with anti-symmetric means you should have both cases. And in that case, the two elements must be the same. Well, you don't have both cases here. You don't have like counter cases here, counter examples here. You have 1, 2, you don't have 2, 1. Now, if you have 2, 1, and you now see that 1 is not equal to 2, then it is not anti-symmetric. But right now, as you see it, you don't have any counter examples, it lacks sufficient information. And when it lacks that sufficient information, we say it holds that property. We say that it holds that property. So we say that arrow is anti-symmetric. Okay? It's anti-symmetric because it lacks sufficient information. You can say it lacks sufficient information. Or counter examples. Sufficient information. I mean, because, it doesn't have, because you have 1, 2, you don't have 2, 1. So, and if you have 2, 1, then 1 is not equal to 2, then we say it is not antisymmetric. But here, because you just have 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, we now say it is antisymmetric. Is it asymmetric? Yes, it's asymmetric. All these are one way. The edges are one-way streets. You have 1, 2, you don't have 2, 1. You have 2, 3, you don't have 3, 2. You have 3, 4, you don't have 4, 3. So arrow is asymmetric. Asymmetric. Okay? It's asymmetric because you have 1, 2, element of arrow, 2, 3, element of arrow, 3, 4, element of arrow are one way. You can say these are only one way. One way. Like you don't have 2, 1. If you had 2, 1, then that's a problem. Because with asymmetric, if you have 1, 2, then you should not have 2, 1. So it is asymmetric. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do another example on sets, and then we'll look at how the matrices look like. Okay, the matrix and the digraph. I hope, from what we've done so far that at least it makes meaning to you from what we have done so far, that it kind of makes meaning to you. So, I have a question here. So let's, with example 7, let A be a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, and let the relation be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4. Okay? We have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 1. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 3, 1, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, 4, 3, 1, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, 4. Okay, so it says determine whether the relation is symmetric, asymmetric, antisymmetric, and explain why. Explain why it is so. Explain why it is so for each property, showing why. Explain why it is so or why it does not. Okay? That is what you have here. Explain why it is so. Determine whether the relation is symmetric, asymmetric, or antisymmetric. Explain why R, the relation, has that property, or give an example of why it does not. Of why it does not. Alright, so let's look at this here. Let's look at symmetry. For 1, 2, we have 2, 1. I'm going to use a yellow chalk. So for 1, 1, no problem. That's fine. For 1, 2, we have 2, 1. For 1, 3, we have 3, 1. For 1, 4, we have 4, 1. Okay, for 2, 2, no problem. 2, 4, for 2, 4, for 2, 4, we don't have 4, 2. You see? For 2, 4, we don't have 4, 2. That's the problem. For 2, 4, we don't have 4, 2. So arrow relation is not symmetric. Okay? Because 2, 4 is an element of the relation, but 4, 2 is not an element of the relation. Okay? Now, is it anti-symmetric? Is it anti-symmetric? With anti-symmetric, if we have 1, 2 and we have 2, 1, and 1 is not equal to 2, no, it won't work. Okay, that's the thing. So R is not anti-symmetric. It's not anti-symmetric because you have 1 and 2 and 2, 1 is an element of arrow, but 1 is not equal to 2. Okay? 1, 3 and 3, 1. 1, 3 and 3, 1 is an element of arrow, but 1 is not equal to 3. 1, 4 and 4, 1 is an element of arrow, but 1 is not equal to 4. Okay? 2, 1, then 2, 2, that 1, 1 is good, 2, 2 is good. Okay, so 3, 3 is good, and 4, 4 is good. But because of this, arrow is not anti-symmetric. Now, is arrow asymmetric? No. Arrow is not asymmetric. It is not asymmetric because I mean, you have all these reasons. You have 1, 1, you have 2, 2, you have 3, 3, you have 4, 4, you have 1, 2 and 2, 1, you have 1, 3 and 3, 1, you have 1, 4 and 4, 1. That's the problem, okay? Because 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4 are elements of R. Okay, not just that, you have 1, 2 and 2, 1 are elements of arrow, which should not be. Okay, if you have, it should be one-way street. 1, 2, no 2, 1. You have 1, 3 and 3, 1 elements of R, which should not be. And then you have 1, 4 and 4, 1 elements of R, which should not be. That is why it is not asymmetric. Okay, does that make sense? Do you understand it? Alright, let's go to matrices and digraphs. How this should look like in matrices and digraphs. Let's start with 2 by 2. You know, at least you have an idea. We've done this with sets. So let's start with 2 by 2 matrices. Okay, and look at how this kind of will work. Let's say we have something like this. Folks, look up. Okay, we have A. Let's say we have A. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's say we have something like this. Look up. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And let's say we have 1. Let's say we have A11, A12, A21, A22. Okay. So let's say we have maybe 1, 0, 1, 1. For instance, let's say we have 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's say we have 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's start with this. Let's call this, let's look at this in matrices. Okay. This is A11, A12, A21, A22. Right? So if you are representing this A as a set, the set A as a set, okay, you could, let's have this as 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have this to be 1, 2, 3, 4 as a set. 1, 2, 3, 4 as a set. So the relation from here, let's say that this is the relation. Let's say that this is the relation R. Let's say this is the relation R. So this will be that you have 1, 1, okay? You have 2, 2 is there, 2, 2. Okay, you have 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, and 2, 2. So you have 1, 1, you have 1, 2, 1, 2 is there. You have 2, 1, and you have 2, 2. Look at this for a moment. That is relation. See what I'm saying? Okay, let me write what I mean here. I'm starting with 2 by 2 matrices. Okay? When we finish, we go to 3 by 3, and then we can do 4 by 4, and that you can apply it to everybody. I want you to kind of understand this without having to memorize all this stuff. So you have, let's say you have A to B, 1, 2, 3, 4. What I just wrote now, I'm writing it again. Okay, let's say the Cartesian product, A by A. Okay, let's look at the set A by A. A by A. If we do A by A, and we have something like that. If we do A by A, and we have something like that, well, A to be 1, 2, not 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry. Let's look at this, A to be 1, 2. A to be 1, 2. Let's start with 2 by 2 matrices. Let's start with 2 by 2 matrices. Okay, look up. A to be 1, 2. 1 and 2. Okay? 1 and 2. Let's look at the Cartesian product. Let's multiply that A and A. Okay? We are not looking at actually, let's write the relation. Let's represent the relation in matrix, in 0, 1 matrix. So, say the relation, say arrow is 1, 1, 1, 1. So this actually means, what this means, we're trying to look at, like we did in reflexivity. We are still doing the same thing in symmetry. We're trying to look at the matrices. How do we know if it's represented in matrix form? How do we know that it is reflective? How do we know that it's symmetric or antisymmetric or asymmetric? That is what we're trying to do. So here, if we do A by A, like if we want to do A by A actually to find this is something like this. This will look like something like this. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is 1, 2. Okay, to give you that 1, 1, 1, 1. So this shows that the relation is actually 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, okay, and 2, 2. That is actually what it means. This is what it means. Even if they give you relation in matrix form, you know that this is what they did to get that, the 2 elements. Okay, it has 2 elements in the set. So this is what it means here. As you can see from here, from what the examples we've done all along, as you can see here, For 1, 1 and 2, 2, we are good anyway. But for 1, 2, you still have 2, 1. For 1, 2, you still have 2, 1. Therefore, arrow is reflexive. I'm sorry. Arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. Okay? Now, what if you have this? What if you have this? Because I want to give you how you know relations that are symmetric when they give it to you in matrix form. What we did was if they give it to you in sets. What if you represent the relation as a 0, 1 matrix? How would you know? So I just converted, say they gave you the 0, 1 matrix like this. So what I did was converting this to set form, and I just knew. Okay, what if they gave it to you like this? What if the relation was 0, 1, 1, 0, like this? Okay, if you convert it A by A, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, then this will be 0, 1, 1, 0. So if you convert it, arrow will be, you have 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, 1, 2. Remember, A is 1, 2, and A is 1, 2. A by A, the Cartesian product. Let's say A by A. A cross A, A cross A. Okay, Cartesian product, A cross A. So 1, 1, 0 is not there, no problem. 1, 2 is there, and we have 2, 1, 2, 1 is there. 2, 1 is there. 2, 2 is not there. But still, this is still what? Symmetric. Arrow is still what? Symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. So, with symmetric, if you have 1, 2, you must have 2, 1. If you have 1, 3, you must have 3, 1. If you have, because this is, remember this is what? A1, 1, A1, 2, A2, 1, A2, 2. Okay? So, the main thing you're looking at is that these two guys must. Arrow is still symmetric, even if this is 0 and this is 0. No problem. Non-problema. No problem. Okay? The main thing is that the 1, 2 and 2, 1 must. If you have 1, 2, you must have 2, 1. Now, it's still possible. Another case. What if you have it this way? What if you have it this way? R to be 1, 0, 0, 1. Like this. 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay? So in this case, your R in the set would be 1, 1, because this is 1, 1 is there. 1, 1 is there. And then 2, 2 is there. Okay, arrow is still what? Symmetric. Arrow is still what? Symmetric. So what do we note here? What do we note here? Anytime you have 1, 2, you must have 2, 1. But if you don't have 1, 2, then you should not have 2, 1. Okay, we notice that. Again, you could have the elements along the principal diagonal to be, here in this case, elements along the principal diagonal are 0. Here, elements along the principal diagonal are 1. And it's still what? Reflexive. So, in general, how do we know, how do we know that a relation represented as a 0, 1 matrix is symmetric? If the matrix is the same as a transpose, then it is symmetric. If the matrix is the same as a transpose, then it is symmetric. Okay? When you have the matrix, because you look at the matrix, transpose it. If it's the same as the transpose, then the relation is symmetric on this side. Just know that. I hope you know transpose of matrices. If not, view the videos I did on matrices. You see transpose of matrix. So you can take down a relation represented as a 0, 1 matrix is symmetric if the matrix is the same as the transpose of the matrix, is the same as its transpose. Okay, so let's and you should also note that, you know, a 1 1 a 1 2 a 2 1, if you have a 3 1 a 1 3 a 2 2 a 2 3 a 3 2, if one of them exists, then the other should exist. The other should exist. Period. If one of them exists, the other should exist. Okay? Yeah. But the main thing is that the matrix should be equal to its transpose. So let's see here. So you say that a relation R represented as a 0, 1 matrix is symmetric on a set A if, okay, if the matrix is the same as the transpose of the matrix. As the transpose of the matrix. So that's how you know it. So even if they give you 3 by 3 matrix, let's say they give you 3 by 3 matrix, let's say maybe, you know, with 3 by 3 matrix, let's say you have a 1 1, a 1 2, a 1 3, a 2 1, a 2 2. You know what? I should be writing R. Okay, but that's fine. That's okay. A 2 3. Yeah, that's fine. No, the set A. I'm sorry. It should be the set A. Yeah, R is just that matrix that they give you, whether the elements are there or not. So A1 1, A1 2, A1 3, A2 1, A2 2, A2 3, A3 1, A3 2, A3 3. All right. So I'm using yellow chalk. You should know that this guy and this guy should be the same. You should know that this guy and this guy should be the same. You should know that this guy and this guy should be the same. If they give you a 3 by 3 matrix. So if you have something like this, maybe 1 1 1 here, 0 0 here, 1, and here you have 0, and here you have 1, and here you have 1. Okay? If this is your arrow, for instance, right? You look at this here. 1 1, fine. 0 0 here, fine. 1 1, fine. That's it. That is one way you can do it. One way you can do it. Just look at 1 2 2 1, 1 3 3 1, 2 3 3 2. You can look at it that way. But easiest way, this is also a good way, you know. But another way you can also look at it is just transpose it. Transpose it. So arrow transpose from here, arrow transpose will be 1 1 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. So you look at this now, it's the same thing. So you say that arrow is symmetric. Arrow is symmetric. It's symmetric. That's it. Okay? If you have 4 by 4 matrix, 5 by 5, the same thing. Okay? If you have 4 by 4 matrix, 5 by 5 matrix is the same principle. So if you have 4 by 4 matrix, you have A11, A12, A13, A14, A21, A22, A23, A24, A31, A32, A33, A34, A41, A42, A43, A44. You have this, okay? Just look at this. Just look at this, okay? A12, A21, A13, A31, A23, A32, okay? A41, A14, A24, A42. If I had several colors, I'll show you. Then A34 and A43. This. Okay? A12, A21, A13, A31. These two. A32, A23, A41 and A14, A24 and A42, and then A34, A43. Or you just transpose it. If you transpose it, and it, now this should always be the same. This should always be the same. Always. Always be the same. Whatever you have in the principal diagonal, we don't care. Whatever elements you have in the principal diagonal, we don't care. Even if you have all zeros, or all ones, or ones and zeros, we don't care. Like if you have this, let's say you have this arrow to be, let's say you have arrow to be for A equal to 1, 2. Let's say you have 1, 1, 0. Let's say you have 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay? We don't care whether you have 1s and 0 in the principal diagonal. We don't care. We don't care. Provided that this and this are the same. That is it. Okay? Because if you were representing arrow would be, you have 1, 2, you have 1, 2, 1, 2. So you would have 1, 1, you would have 1, 2, you would have 2, 1. Okay? And arrow is still symmetric. Arrow is still what? Symmetric. So, we don't care what you have on the principal diagonal elements. We don't care. Whatever you have there, we don't care. It could be there, like here we don't have 2, 2. We don't have 2, 2 in the relation. It doesn't matter, okay? The main thing is if we have 1, 2, we must have 2, 1, period. Okay? Those are the main things. So, but the easiest way to do it is transpose the matrix. Make your rows to be columns and the columns to be rows. If the matrix is the same as the transpose, then the relation is symmetric on the set. Okay? What of the digraph? Now, let's look at the digraph. What do you think the digraph will be? The digraph, for the digraph, you would have two-way streets. Now, you might have a loop or you might not have a loop. It does not matter. But you will have what we call a two-way street. The edges will be two-way streets. If you call it, you can call it two-way streets in the edges. So you have one. If you have one and you have two, okay, you will have a two-way street. Two-way street. Because you have 1, 2, and 2, 1. Now, it doesn't matter if you have loops, if you have 1, 1, provided you have, it doesn't matter if you have loop here. It doesn't matter. You can have loop, you know. In this case here, the relation here is, 1, 2, 2, 1. You know, you can, we said this in the previous video. If they give you a digraph, you can change it to a set. You can convert it to relation. You know, you can always change those. Now, in this case, the relation will be, the relation will be 1, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 1. Okay. With the digraphs, even if you have 1, 2, 3, let's say you have A to be 1, 2, 3, you will have two-way streets. For a digraph, the edges, the edge from one vertex to another will be two-way street. Will be a two-way. Okay. When a relation say R is represented as a digraph, okay, the edge from one vertex to another vertex will be two-way. Okay, the edges from one vertex to another vertex will be two-way. Okay, two-way. So it does not matter whether you have a loop or not. It does not matter. Okay, so let's say we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. So if you have 1 to 2, you must have 2 to 1. Okay, the edges from one vertex to for each edge, you know what I'm going to put here. For any edge that goes from one vertex to another, there must be another edge that goes. Yeah, it's still possible. It is still possible not to have 1, 3 and 3, 1. Still possible. Okay, but if you must have 1, 3, then you must have 3, 1. So the way I will put this is for any edge that goes from one vertex to another, there must be another edge that goes in the opposite direction. Okay, for any edge that goes from one vertex to another, there must be an edge going in the opposite direction. So it's possible to have 1, 2, and 2, 1 only. Even in the here set of this, it's possible. This is still symmetric. Okay. If you have it 1, 2, 3, it's possible to have it. If you have 2 to 3, then you must have 3 to 2. That's the main thing. If you have 1 to 3, then you must have 3 to 1. And it does not matter if you have 1 to 1 or 2 to 2. It doesn't matter. You can still have a loop. It still doesn't matter. You must not even have 1 to 2. You must not. Okay? But if you do that, we showed you in the matrix form. But if you do have 1 to 2, then you must have 2 to 1 going. That is, it must be, for any one-way edge, you must have another one going in the opposite direction. That is for digraphs. Symmetric relation, when a relation is represented as a digraph, the relation is symmetric. The relation is symmetric if the relation is symmetric. If for any edge that goes from one vertex to another, there must be an edge going in the opposite direction. There must be an edge from that vertex to that other one. Okay? And what of antisymmetric? Now, with antisymmetric, remember, when we did it as sets, antisymmetric for matrices, we don't want, like, with antisymmetric, if we have 1, 2, we should not have 2, 1. We should not. Okay? For antisymmetric, I'm going to explain antisymmetric and asymmetric together so that you can kind of, like matrix form. Let me explain it together so that you can have an idea of both of them. Let me start with 2 by 2. Let me start with 2 by 2 matrix. So let's say that A is 1 and 2. We want to do antisymmetric and then asymmetric. Let's see antisymmetric and asymmetric together. Okay? So with antisymmetric, remember, we can have 1, 1, and we can have 2, 2. Okay? And also with antisymmetric, this is antisymmetric. We can have 1, 1, we can have 2, 2. We can also have 1, 1, we can have 1, 2, and we can have 2, 2. We just cannot have 2, 1 with antisymmetric. We just cannot have 2, 1. But we can have 1, 1, we can have 1, 2, we can have 2, 2. With antisymmetric, we can have 1, 2, and we can have 2, 2. We cannot have 2, 1. With antisymmetric, we can even have only 1, 2. With antisymmetric, we can have only 1, 2, but we cannot have 2, 1. We just can't have 2, 1. Okay, so folks, look at this now. So let's do this. Let's kind of represent this so you can see how it looks like, you know. So A by A cross A, A cross A. So 1, 2, 1, 2. I have A cross A. Okay, and remember this means A11, A12, A21, A22. Okay? So let's say our arrow here. Our arrow, we have, this is 1, 1. This is saying like 1, 1. This is 1, 2. This is 2, 1. And this is 2, 2. That is what it means. So the first one, 1, 1 and 2, 2. So 1, 1, we have it 1, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 0, 2, 2, 1. So with antisymmetric, you could see that 1, 2, and 2, 1. Okay, 1, 2, and 2, 1. If you have, in this case, you don't have it at all. But if you have it, if you have one of it, you must not have the other one. So this is antisymmetric. You could also have it this way. The relation 1, 1, so I put 1 here. 1, 2, I put 1. 2, 2, 2, 1, there's nothing, 0, and 2, 2 is 1. This is still antisymmetric. It's still antisymmetric. Antisymmetric, you could have, you know, with antisymmetric, if you have AB and BA, then A must be equal to B, if you have it. But if you don't have it, no problem. If you don't have it, no problem. Okay, in this case, we don't have it. No problem, no problem, if we don't have it. But if we have it, it must be equal, must. Okay, now, if you have 1, 1, 2, 2 elements along the principal diagonal, fine. If you don't have it, no problem. But the main thing is, other elements, if you have A12 and A21, then both of them cannot, like, it's not possible because one is not equal to 2. So, if you don't have any of them, fine. If you have one of them and you don't have the other one, fine. You just can't have both of them because if you have both of them, then they must be equal for it to be anti-symmetric. And in that case, 1, 2, and 2, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 1 are not equal. So because they are not equal, then you can't have both of them 1, 1. No way. You cannot. Okay? You cannot. Now, the other one, 1, 2, and 2, 2. You can also have it this way, 1, 2, and 2, 2. So 1, 1 is not there, so we put 0. 1, 2 is 1, we put 1. 2, 1 is not there, we put 0. 2, 2 is 1. This is still possible. Okay? A 1, 2 and a 2, 1 should never be 1. No, they should never be there. No way. A 3, 1 and a 1, 3 should not be there. Okay? A 2, 4 and a 4, 2 should not be there at the same time because 2 is not equal to 4. You can't have it that way. Okay? 1, 2 and 2, 1, you cannot have it. 1, 3 and 3, 1, you cannot have it. 2, 4 and 4, 2, you cannot have it both at the same time because 2 is not equal to 4. That is with antisymmetric. If you must have anything at the same time, it should be 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. But even if you don't have it, no problem. No problem even if you don't have it. Okay, no problem. Just like the next one now, 1 and 2 only. Okay, we have 1, 1 is not there, 1, 2 is 1, 2, 1 is not there, and this. So that's fine. Even if you don't have it, no problem. It is still anti-symmetric. Even if you don't have it, no problem. But if you must have it, then you can have 2, 4 and 4, 2 at the same time. That is anti-symmetric. If you must have it, it must be 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Okay? The elements along the principal diagonal of the matrix. The principal diagonal elements. And what about the digraphs? With antisymmetrics, you can have loops. Okay, in the digraphs, you can have loops. You just can't have edges as two-way. No, the edges will not be two-way, except unless it is a loop. That is its element. Like you can have 1, 2 going and then 2, 1 going. No way. That is with antisymmetric. The edges will be one-way straight, one-way, one-way or loops or loop. Okay. So if you have something like this, 1 and 2, okay, you can just have a loop 1, 1 and 2, 2, like this. That's the digraph of this. Here, for this one, you have 1, 1, 2. You have 1, 1, no problem. You have 2, 2, no problem. And then you have 1 to 2. Yeah. But you can't have 2 to 1. The edge will not be two-way. No. Unless it is a loop. Comprende? Comprenez-vous? Do you understand it? So, and this goes with 3 by 3, 4 by 4. Let me give you more examples for 3 by 3, 4 by 4. if you have like 3 by 3, let's say 3 by 3 matrix, of which we'll have A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Okay? So you could have this like this. You could have 1, you could have 0, 1. You could have 0. Here you could have 1, you could have 0. It doesn't matter here. But if you have 0, 1, you could do that. You could have 0, 0, no problem. You could have 1, 0, like this. So if 1 is 0, the other one will be 1. And you could have 0, 0, no problem. You could also have 1, 0, no problem. You just can't have 1, 1, no. You could not have it at all, but if you must have this, 1, 2, 2, 1, if 1 is there, the other one should not be there. It's a one way, okay? Or you might not even have it at all, no problem. Or you could have it like this. If 1 is there, the other one should not be there. That is antisymmetric. Okay? And then in the principal diagonal, you can have it or you might not even have it. You might not even have it. You can have it or you might not even have it. Okay, asymmetric. Let's look at asymmetric. And then we can call it a night. So much to learn, right? So much to learn. Yeah. We still have to do transitivity. Asymmetric. Asymmetric. With asymmetric, you can only have one way streets. Okay? So with asymmetric, you could have something like this. Let's say you have A to be 1, 2. 1, 2. So you could have only 1, 2. Only. You can't have 1, 2 and 2, 1. No. You could also have just 2, 1. 2, 1. Only one-way streets, only. You cannot have 1, 1. You cannot have 2, 2. No way. No. So if you are representing this digraph, you just have it like this. One-way street only. Okay? Or with this one, 2 to 1. 2 to 1. 1 to 2, 2 to 1. Only one-way streets. You cannot have 1, 1, you cannot have 2, 2. You cannot. Okay? So with matrices, the same thing with matrices. If you have, let's say, A11, A12, A21, A22, so the relation should be something like this. Sorry, you can't have 1, 1, I'm sorry. The principal diagonal elements for asymmetric must all be zeros. Must. With asymmetric, principal diagonal elements must be zeros. All of them. Principal diagonal elements must be zeros. Must be zeros. Now, it must not be zeros for antisymmetric. It still could be zeros for antisymmetric, but it must not be. Okay? It still could be, but it must not be. It must not be for symmetric, but it still could be. Okay, for symmetric. But for asymmetric, it must be zeros. So 0, 0. And then if we have 1 here, we must have 0 here. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. So if we have 1 here, we must have 0 here. So in this case, this is this first one. If you want the second one, then it will be like this. 0, 0, 1, 0. It will be like this. For 2, 1. That's the second one here. Okay? Now, if you're doing it 3 by 3, then the first thing you kind of want to do with asymmetric is just put zeros here. Then you could have 1 here and you will have 0 here. You could have You could have 0 here and you could still have 0 here. It's still possible not to have anything there. And then if you have 1 here, if you have 1 here, you will have 0 here. Okay? So you see this. Let me use yellow color. So you see this. It's still possible not to have any, I mean, you must have at least one element at least in the relation, okay? So, and if you have that one element in the relation, one ordered pair, one set of ordered pair, then the other one should not be there at all with asymmetric. It's all one way. And you can't have, the principal diagonal elements must be zeros. Okay? And if you also look at this also, you will see that this is both what? Asymmetric, and it is also what? Anti-symmetric. It's also anti-symmetric. You know, anytime you have, just look at this now, anytime you have zeros as the principal diagonal elements, okay, if it is asymmetric, then, well, of course, if it is asymmetric, then it has to be anti-symmetric. You know, if you have zeros as the principal diagonal elements, you know, so you it has to be one way. You can't have 1, 2 and 2, 1. Yeah. Now, but with anti-symmetric, you could have loops, which means you could have some 1s here or all 1s here. You could have loops, you know, but it's still one way if you're going from one vertex to another vertex. It has to also be one way. You can have 1, 2 and 2, 1, you know, in anti-symmetric. So asymmetric and anti-symmetric, you see, it's kind of the same thing. The only thing that in extra with asymmetric, you will have zeros in the principal diagonal. You know, that is the thing with asymmetric. Okay? We're going to stop here for tonight. Please watch out for